Brought to you by the Every Dollar app. Start budgeting for free today.
Hey guys, huge fan. My wife and I are baby step 7, and we are FQ coordinators. But
wow, awesome. And thank you.
Oh, of course. We are taking a break this year because we're having another baby. So.
Oh, congratulations!
Thank you. This is really a future estate question. Let me explain. My brother and his family have completely cut off contact with my parents, and now with me and my family. And they've given me the power of attorney, etc., to deal with their estate once that time comes. And here's the tricky part, though. My parents bought and paid for my brother's house almost 20 years ago and still own it, and are still paying for taxes and insurance, etc. They didn't buy me a house, which is not a big problem, but my parents won't give me much more direction other than he gets the house and I would inherit their house upon their death. But my parents have a rental I'd like to have. That's not in the will. My question is, how do I make these decisions from a moral and financial standpoint if they won't give me direction and my brother's basically gone AWOL from the family?
Well, I think it's pretty simple. The stuff that they're not giving you direction on, you sit down with them and go, Mom and Dad, this is not fair to me for you to put me in charge of executing on your will and having some things that need to be dealt with upon your passing that aren't specifically laid out in the will, so please do so.
And whatever isn't clear, I'm going to just use my best judgment on. And
Yeah, then there's no moral problem. If you bring it up to them and they don't make these changes, to George's point, then you do what it is you think is right. But I think this is just a sit-down conversation. Is there some reason why this hasn't happened or why you haven't gone this route?
I have spoken to them about I need some more direction. This needs to be out in the air, and I can't get any progress with that.
Then don't worry about it. Have you done all that you can do on this?
From my standpoint, I believe so. I just don't like the pressure.
There's no pressure
of when
no pressure
happens.
No pressure.
I'm getting some undertones here that you're resentful towards your brother. Number 1, for cutting off all contact. Number 2, for being financially irresponsible and then somehow benefiting from it all with Mom and Dad funding his life and buying his house. Am I incorrect? I would be. I feel like I'm resentful toward him, putting myself in your shoes.
I think I'm more mad about it than Vincent is.
So is what you're saying, hey, I don't want him to get the house, but that's what they're wanting, and I have to follow their wishes?
I'm okay, I think, with him getting the house they already bought him. I don't want to deal with that.
But you're saying he shouldn't get other things.
Right.
I think it's the rental. Unless you're not telling us what else is unclear. But one thing we know is unclear is we don't know who gets the rental upon their death.
Correct.
And you want it.
And I just don't want that to go through courts. I don't want it to go through all the things if it's not in the will.
I agree. Again, I think you stay on them about it to the point that one of two things is going to happen. Either they're going to deal with it because you keep pestering them about it, or they go, okay, you're no longer involved. And then you go, then it's not my problem. But you need closure on it. Closure. Yep. And so you need to drive for closure.
Okay.
To be unclear is to be unkind, we like to say. And so we need clarity here.
Do you agree, George?
Absolutely.
I mean, you need to go say, put the rental in the will.
I would have the will out going, all right, we're going to update this now. Maybe it's in the presence of an estate attorney where you go, hey, we're going to knock this thing out once and for all and make sure that the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed, and say, that is my job. As power of attorney, this is what I've been tasked with. And you're not allowing me to do this job properly until we get all the details out there. And then you can make suggestions and say, here's my suggestion. Clearly, brother has not been financially responsible. He has cut all ties, and therefore I believe it makes the most sense for me to acquire the rental. He can keep his house. He can keep what he's got going on, but we should not give him any more to manage. That would be unwise. Would you agree?
I would agree.
Then lay it out there.
That.
Lay it out there along with the boundary of, guys, either take care of this or take me off the situation. I don't want to be stuck with this. I do not want to go to court after your death because you didn't put everything, all of your assets in the will. That's just incredibly insensitive, and you're putting me in a tough situation. I would just hold firm on that.
Okay.
Yeah. Appreciate the call.
It's far more relational than it is a tactical thing, because it sounds like mom and dad still love they love their son even if he has been misbehaving, and the other brother says, I don't want to enable and incentivize this poor behavior by giving him more to manage.
And yes, but I also think the biggest contention, George, is that he doesn't want to go to court. He doesn't want to fight his brother over this asset.
He doesn't want it to be
that's
messy.
Not been stipulated in the will, and he doesn't want to deal with that. I think he's just exhausted from whatever this drama is. I think that's the driving force, and I understand that. Things like mom and dad might be kicking this can down the road because they're not ready to decide.
They're not ready to deal with it either.
Create your free every dollar budget today, the simplest way to budget for your life.